There is nothing more important in life than happiness. This feeling of excitement and confidence and appreciation for the world is simply unmatched. Happiness is also a strange sensation by being different for every person. What makes one happy doesn't always elicit the same feeling from the other. What truly highlights the brilliance of life is finding those sources of happiness that you can share with others. This shared happiness can come from many different things. Could be the love of a family member or a friend, could be playing on the same team, or for people like us, it could be video games. Video games invite you into entirely foreign worlds for you to explore and conquer that unite you with childhood friends living on the other side of the country. They tell beautiful and vibrant stories of human interaction. The characters become more than just an animated model you're controlling, but rather another person you're learning about and connecting with. Or, instead of telling an emotional narrative, they can just be downright fun. They can help you forget about your everyday troubles and just enjoy what they have to offer. We all deserve a break sometimes, and there's no better way to spend that free time than experiencing a video game. Whether you're in it to hear a tale about love and loss, or you're just in it to unwind for the day, you still have the same motivation: happiness. With this special holiday episode, we'd like to share stories that combine our love for video games with our memories surrounding the most wonderful time of the year. I'm producer Will Strickland, and I hope you enjoy your stay here on Pixel Peak.
Welcome everyone to Pixel Peak's Christmas special. We'll be spending this time with you to talk about games we love to play during this time of year, how we got into gaming in the first place, and what video games mean to us. I'm associate producer Kyle Presley, and I'm joined by
Zack Beasley,
Kristen Lawrence,
and Bobby Akins.
With the help of my friends, I'd like to get us into the holiday spirit. Pour some hot chocolate, bundle up, and have Pikachu dressed as a snowman nearby. So, Bobby, tell me, what is your favorite game that you like to associate with the holiday season so much?
For me, I think, and this isn't really a Christmas game, but it's The World Ends With You. It's one that I got several Christmases ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, and it's just one that I come back to every holiday season, and honestly, it feels like a gift that just keeps giving. What about you, Zach?
Mine's a little bit, I don't know what the word is. It's definitely unique. It's not anywhere near to a wintry setting. It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night, a game that you associate with ghouls, goblins, wow. Halloween.
Yeah.
But the reason it's so special to me around this time of year is I got to play it with one of my best friends in the whole world, Alex Huggins. Shout out. Over a winter break once, I was going through a hard time. I think my girlfriend had broken up with me or something. But it was really nice because he was so passionate about it. He got to share something he cared about with me. And it was just so awesome getting to delve into a game that he cares so much about and that I care a lot about now. What about you, Kristen?
Well, mine's really weird and for good reason. So when the PS4 came out, this is the only memory I can specifically remember after getting my PS4 on Christmas, is me and my dad just raging at GTA 5 because we hadn't gotten the controls down yet. So, good Christmas memories there.
Wow. Yeah, probably for me would be, not to be ironic or anything, but probably Pokemon, just because that time of the year I associate with the release of Pokemon. They always come out around December and things like that. So I usually associate with that. The other thing that I think really makes it that for me is probably it connects me to my dad. My dad was the one who really got me into Pokemon in the first place, and we shared a lot of memories when it came to that. So I really like to think about that during the holidays because he passed away a few years ago. So it feels just that little bit more connectedness and that little more deeper holiday feeling every once in a while over the holiday season when I'm playing Pokemon. It kind of fills that little emptiness in the season, and I just really like the game for that aspect. It's very festive and happy and upbeat. So that's probably the best one for me.
Yeah, and I mean, Pokemon that's one of the main themes of the games and the shows. It's togetherness. It's spending time with your friends, and winter is just the perfect time. We get breaks off. We're in school, and you get to be with your friends and share something. So yeah, I think that's a really good game.
Yeah, it's a really interesting perspective to take on all of the games that we talked about here. There's not really a set Christmas game unless you're talking about movie knockoffs or something
Yeah.
like that where you have those adaptations or anything. But it's a really good diversity. Grand Theft Auto 5 is an interesting one, and Castlevania definitely is one that I didn't expect. The World Ends With You, I think it's just that connectedness. We all have that special memory that we really associate with it, and I think that's really really deep and really special for us.
So, and I'm not sure what brings this question up, but do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Ooh, that's a hard one, but I do actually. I would have to say, I would probably have to say Crystal version is my favorite. I'm a really big fan of Gen 2 and everything like that, but of course the first generation Red, Blue, and Yellow are going to hold a special place in my heart because that's where it all got started for me, and that's just another memory in the bank for me. So yeah, that's a big one for me. What about Castlevania? I want to hear more about how this is.
Okay, so there's nothing. It's like it's a dark and stormy night. It's like stereotypical, like gather around the campfire.
Is it snowing?
No, it's raining. I checked though. I was like, it felt like it. No, it's definitely raining. I don't know. There's something about it for me. It's a game that there's a lot to dig into. There's you can get a good ending or a bad ending, and wintertime is like when we're on break, you have more time to like dig into things. And so for like Castlevania, like if you want to dig into the lore of the monsters or find that good ending, you can dedicate the time to find the secret ending where they, spoilers, flip the castle upside down. I was so mad. I was like, I have to do this thing all over again. I was like, I didn't like the castle the first time.
Right.
But more than anything, it's just the connection I have with my buddy Alex.
That makes perfect sense.
You've heard what our favorite winter memories are, but what about the rest of our lovely cast? Let's hear what games make them all happy and nostalgic.
Hi, my name is Jean-Luc Clark, and I am one of the 3 co-hosts.
Walker Peters, I am PC analyst.
Hi, I'm Zack Clayton, and I'm one of the game reviewers.
I'm Logan Berg, and I'm a video game reviewer.
Tanner Mazzell, and I'm one of the writers.
My name is Max Stein. I am the lead writer on Pixel Peak.
So the first game that comes to mind for me is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords.
Assassin's Creed 2.
Animal Crossing.
Super Mario Galaxy, Halo 2.
I remember I threw it on one December evening when I was a lad and saw that all of the trees in town were covered in Christmas lights.
It's Christmas of 2009. I am a 12-year-old young little small being in the world, and I open up underneath the lovely Christmas tree a copy of Assassin's Creed 2. Again, I'm 12 at the time, so it's my first M-rated game, so it's kind of like, whoa, wow, I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't know, just play it.
Back when I was younger, that was one of the games I really wanted because I got really big into Halo, the first one. And my mom bought me that, and I stayed up like all night playing that game.
A friend I know always told me of his tradition of playing Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm like, you know what? That's great, because I've always wanted to play it and always put off some excuse of why I don't jump into this massive game.
I had gotten a Wii for Christmas, and that was like my entire winter break in high school was just playing through Super Mario Galaxy, and all the wintry levels were super fun where you roll on the ball to the end of the goal. It's just a really good time. Of course, when I was a kid and we got a Wii, that was one of the first games for it. You can just spend your whole day exploring dungeons, nothing too stressful, taking in the world.
On December 24th, I found that a jovial reindeer named Jingle was trotting around town handing out NES ROMs to anyone who spoke to him. I got Excitebike.
I spent the entire day just in the trenches of my bedroom while it was snowing in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, just really being in utter rapture at the magnitude of how a narrative so grand in scale could really be presented in a format like this.
My dad came by and saw that I was playing Excitebike, and he was like, hey, I really like Excitebike. That's one of the few games I played when I was a kid. So he sat down and played with me, and that's one of the sort of limited times that I've been able to really bond with my dad over video games.
I always just loved sharing that tale, so.
We all have our favorite seasonal games, but let's throw it way back and think about how we even got into the hobby in the first place. How about we start with you, Zack?
Okay, so what got me into gaming in the first place, it's not like a friend, a family member, or anything like that. I think it was actually the Pokemon cartoon, which is like super fitting for, our play setting right now. But yeah, so I think it was for a birthday or something like that. I got this super sweet crystal blue, like they were like translucent because Nintendo was on that back in the day, like with the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance. It was sick. My sister got the pink one as well, and with it I got what was it? Pokemon Gold version. Ooh. Yeah, it was. Oh my god, it was fantastic. I was so excited to have it just after watching the show, and I think Gold is like what really got me into gaming, and it got me into like what my favorite Pokemon generation is, because I love Gen 2. Cyndaquil is absolutely my favorite Pokemon ever, and I played the crap out of it, and I played it so much that the battery packs that were on it that latched in so it could hold on, I was playing it so much and they had to swap out so many battery packs. Like, we had to duct tape it. Like, I remember, the writing on the sticker had faded away, and it just wouldn't hold anymore. We had to duct tape it.
Did you at least get, electric blue duct?
No,
match the color.
That would have been so cool. No, it's just, the dingiest gray you've ever seen. And then, after a while, that fell off. And I remember one time, I think it was my sister's Game Boy, actually, to the pier, because I don't know, I guess I didn't want to go fishing or something, and I was fiddling with it, and I vividly remember watching the battery,
Zack.
The holder just tumble into the ocean. I still rocked it, it's just, I just play with the batteries. It probably cost me a couple save files here and there, but yeah, so I'd say Pokemon Gold, which by the way, I only had for an hour. I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared. I think I got as far as picking my starter, and then it was just gone. I don't know where it went. And every year, when we were pulling out Christmas decorations out of the attic, I was always like, oh yeah, maybe we'll find it. Maybe it got up there somehow. It's kind of ridiculous. Why would it be up there? And my parents were in on it too. They're like, maybe we'll find it. And now thinking about it now, it makes me kind of think, maybe they took it.
It was just consuming too much
of
their life.
Yeah.
It took you an hour to pick your starter. I kind of can't blame them.
Hey man, I was living that life. I was gonna be the very best.
I can relate to that. Yeah, my intro to gaming is probably pretty similar. I really got into it, I guess, because my dad was a plug in a case. He worked for Nintendo for a long time, and
like
for
an
Pokemon.
Uncle that works for Nintendo.
Step up.
Yeah, except it was my own dad. So I remember coming home from school one day, and he had 2 Game Boy Colors, just one for each of us, and I was like, wow, my dad's actually gonna play video games, and I'm gonna get to play them too. And so I remember playing. Pokemon was obviously the first game I had, because he was doing things for the Pokemon conventions. So we literally had this box in our basement full of brand new unopened red, blue, and yellow versions. And I remember just playing through them, and I was really bad at it at first. I remember I started playing and I went into the Pokemon Center and I got stuck there, and I went to play a different game and came back to that game a month later, and I could not figure out how to get out of the Pokemon Center. I didn't even actually know that you could until one day I stepped too far on the rug and just walked out, and there was a whole world, and I was like, whoa. So yeah.
It's this is the game, it's not just walking simulator.
I had a somewhat similar experience. When I was younger, I got started on the original Game Boy. My dad basically gave me his.
Nice.
Tetris is the only game I actually remember playing on it. I'm not sure I owned any other games at that point. But my dad also had the old school Nokia, the one with the pull-out antenna.
Oh wow.
And that had Snake on it. And so those were the 2 OG games I played. But later on, when I got to make my own decisions and stuff, and I had a Game Boy Color, I got Pokemon Blue, and I vividly remember I had a Squirtle, and I was like, okay, if I talk to Nurse Joy enough times, it'll level up into a Wartortle. I don't know why I thought
That's not how any of this works.
Because the show, they just do anything.
Yeah, pretty much, just whatever happens.
I mean, I know that now, but that and Dragon Quest Monster 2, Kobe's Journey for the Game Boy Color.
Classic.
That's the one I count as the one that got me into everything.
How many hours did you put into that, do you think?
Too many. How about you, Kristen?
So my dad actually got me into gaming because he has a degree in computer programming, and that's
Wow.
what he was doing when I was younger. So I would just like sit on the floor of the office and just watch him on the computer or whatever when I was really little. And I guess he was like, well, maybe she should be able to play on the computer too.
Did he like make any games for you?
No, he
Oh,
didn't.
that'd have been so
That would have
cool.
been cool though. But yeah, so I was actually behind on a lot of technology for the longest time because I didn't have a lot of money. So I just had that old desktop computer for the longest time until I was like in, I don't know, 3rd grade and got a DS for the first time.
Oh,
So,
wow, what a jump.
Yeah.
Did you have to use DOS command lines to get your games running?
No, actually. So it was a little bit further along than that, but not super much further than that. So let's find out how the rest of the Pixel Peak crew discovered their love for video games.
What got me into gaming was really my dad. He was a big gamer, so obviously I sort of inherited all his hobbies.
I found an old Game Boy Color in my cousin's house, and I would go over whenever I could to play it. They wouldn't let me take it out of the house. My mom wouldn't, at least.
When I'm about 5 or 6 and I'm going over to my cousins Eric and Derek's house.
I got into gaming via my cousin Rob. When I was 5 years old, I asked my parents for a Game Boy, and they said that I wasn't going to be able to get one until I was 10.
I used to watch my brother play, I think it was one of the Grand Theft Autos on PlayStation, the original PlayStation. And so I would play some of that, and I was really too young to remember, but it was a bunch of like first-person shooter games and all that. Of course, there were Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Spyro and Crash, a lot that other people grew up with. And that was because my dad owned a PlayStation 1, and he just bought games for me to play.
It had all the wonderful classic Game Boy games, such as Pokemon, Tetris, a Harry Potter tie-in game, a Shrek tie-in game, all the classics.
They had a PlayStation 1 and a copy of Madden 98, I believe.
But really, I would credit it to like my friends growing up. I sort of grew up in a generation where we would get down and play Halo 2, Halo 3. We would sort of bond through Xbox.
When the Game Boy Advance came out, my cousin gave me his dandelion yellow Game Boy Color and Godzilla the series on it. Godzilla the series, not a very good game in and of itself, but shortly after getting the system, I got Pokemon Blue.
When I was with my mom at a friend's house, her son was playing the first Halo, and that was just the best thing to me.
You know, they handed me the controller, and against all odds, I actually scored one, count them, one singular touchdown.
I would take it to school where I couldn't play it, but then after school at the YMCA, where every kid was playing some kind of Pokemon. I learned so many glitches, made so many friends that way. It was really fun.
Carrying those friendships all the way through college, playing with them even to this day, that's really what carried me through gaming, is the community.
Some people say video games are an art form, and some say they aren't. Well, we're not here to debate that. Instead, we just want to know one thing. What do games mean personally to each of us? So, Kyle, what does gaming and games mean to you?
Ooh, man, that's a tough question. I would say, video games mean everything to me. Like, gaming is really become like a staple of my life. I got into it because of family. I kept doing it, because of friends so much. I think if I had to boil it down to one topic, I would say probably just like sharing. The opportunity to share video games with so many people, not only has been the basis of gaming for such a long time, but it's become so easy nowadays to do it. Going back to what I said about my dad having that giant box of Pokemon games, one of my most fondest memories of him and us sharing things are when I was at daycare. I had a bunch of friends who also had Game Boys and whatnot, and one time, actually before the holidays, he came in with that box and just started handing out games to everybody who had a Game Boy, and just making people's day. And it was it was just the best feeling because, I felt partially connected to that. And it was so cool not only to have, other people to talk about those games with and enjoy them with, but just to see the absolute pleasure that gaming and getting a new game, receiving a new game can, enlist in someone. It's just the best feeling. And, I love multiplayer aspects of games, but, single player is also, a big sharing, prospect of it as well. I can't count how many times I've had a friend over at my house before. Single player game, only got one controller, and you just take turns and you're both laughing and enjoying it along the way. Somebody makes a mistake and you snatch it back and you say, no, you got to do it like this. And it's just this big, bonding thing. I haven't seen something, bring so many different types of people together. Whether it be age, whether it be ethnicity, whether it be any sort of beliefs, it all kind of just melts away when you're playing games, and I really love that aspect. What about you, Bobby?
I gotta get real for a minute. When I was young, we moved around a lot, so because my dad was in the military, I didn't really have a lot of time to make like a ton of friends. So it'd normally just be me and my younger brother playing video games, like mostly single player games as we were in the car going from state to state. But like you said, that sharing kind of made it all right. It was like everybody knows Final Fantasy. Yes. Like especially when I was a kid, Final Fantasy VII was huge. Everyone knew it. Everyone had it, everyone was playing it. If you knew anything about Final Fantasy VII, you had an in right there no matter where you were coming from. Same goes for Pokemon. Like all of these games, all of these stories, and that's why I love video games so much. Each one is an opportunity to explore a story that someone's been dying to tell for years, decades maybe. And using these games, it's their best way to show it with the world. And beyond that, like Pokemon and Dragon Quest Monsters, it's making like your own friends in the game. It's building this team, working with other people to kind of, sometimes it was save the world. Yeah. Sometimes it was, I want to be the very best. And sometimes it was, you know what, that apple looks good. I'm going to go eat that apple. In the case of Yoshi. What about you, Zach?
So for me, it's all those things. I'll get to those, but to give a somewhat different answer and relate to what you're saying, gaming is obviously it's a hobby, but it's become more than that. Like it consumes a big part of my day, reading up on news about games or like seeing, watching like YouTube videos about game mechanics and things like that, things that are like super interesting to me. And gaming has given me the opportunity to like see so many stories and experience so many characters, and like you said, like making friends with like these virtual characters, this idea that somebody hatched one day and said, I want to put this is my work, this is my art, and talking with it like, oh, I like this character the best, oh, I like and then your friends would be like, oh no, you're wrong, it's
the infamous Cloud versus Leon debate.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so my argument in that is Zack from the Crisis Core games. A lot of people know those games. It's like the prequel to Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
But anywho, to get back on track, sharing games is probably like the biggest thing for me. It's when I was going away to college, I'm the only one out of my friend group that came here to App State. All my other friends, they're at one's in New York. Most of them are at NC State, and a couple are back home in Greenville at ECU. I was just so worried that I wasn't going to have a way to keep up with them. I mean, obviously, like you can text and do stuff like that, but there's something about being able to say, like, hey man, let's hop on PS4, or like let's play some. A game we love is Lethal League on Steam. Like just hopping on and just being able to play with each other, hear each other's voice, and like share an experience. It lets us feel a little bit closer. And even if it is a single player experience, you get to share that with people. Kind of like with my friend Alex and playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, he got to share that with me. He got to tell me about all these secrets because he'd sunk so much time into it.
Right.
Another one of my best friends, Brent, Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, they're multiplayer games. I've never played the games with a friend other than Brent. you know, and I've never sunk any substantial amount of time into them by myself, because it's not. There's something special and there's something different about us playing through Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2. We're currently working on the pre-sequel. His school, like he said, he's in New York, and his school's a little bit different, so our breaks don't always line up. But every break, we get the chance, we get together for a day, and we chuck through some story. And it's always something, we'll have something to come back to. And it's also sharing those games with your friends. I got my friend Bryson into Monster Hunter, and now he's a bigger fan than I am. Like, it's ridiculous, you know. But I know that I always have somebody to text or somebody to hit up if I have something really cool to talk about. So Kristen, sorry, I know I took up a huge chunk of time.
No, it's fine. So I didn't have, I maybe had 2 friends I saw on a kind of regular basis when I was growing up. I didn't really have friends because I was painfully shy. So,
and now here you are on TV.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't work like that with performance to me. They separate themselves in my brain a little bit. But, so that's how I just kind of entertained myself throughout my childhood. This is really sad. When I was feeling alone, I would just play a game and stuff like that. I mean, I'm an only child. My parents are older and they worked all the time when I was little, so it's just kind of what I could do to entertain myself, and so video games just kind of came my friend growing up. And I mean, the same thing happened to me with coming here. None of my friends came here except for 2. One's my roommate, and one I never see because she's always in so many clubs and stuff like that. So I've kind of fallen back into that, and it just makes you feel like you have somewhere to go when you're feeling
totally. Anytime I don't want to feel lonely, I hang out with Donald and Goofy in Kingdom Hearts. But this has been a pretty fun and wholesome chat here, but it isn't complete until we get to hear the other crew members tell their own stories.
What have video games contributed to your life?
Wow, Will Strickland, that's a very powerful question.
Ever since I started playing video games a lot, I've always seen them as an art form.
It's a very good way to escape and just kind of connect with your friends.
I really credit them for who I am today. Particularly, I really think they nurtured my love for reading and sort of curiosity about the world.
There's just so much you can do in video games that you can't do in real life.
We as people always look and strive to find content and activity that really fuels our desire to be part of something bigger.
They help me connect with friends who aren't physically close to me. When I was in high school, I played Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 constantly with my best friend, AJ, who lives in Florida.
I love experimenting with making games as well as playing them.
And then now in college, I have friends that go to Chapel Hill, who go to Western.
It's a great way to just kind of relax and forget about everything else.
So even though we're all physically pretty distant from each other, it really helps keep us close.
I love talking about how games are designed, how developers have intended for players to overcome challenges in their games.
Games can be similar in a lot of ways to a good novel or movie in that they're used as escapism. You can move to another world, absorb things that you could never do from the comforts of your own home.
You're experiencing the story, you're being actively engaged. You have characters that are being formed and brought to life in a way where you can choose how you interact with them. You can choose the personal level of active engagement that you want to participate in.
My love for history, my love for reading, my love for the world, just exploring things, really comes from video games.
It's that perfect Hyrule triangle, perfect storm of active engagement, really giving yourself the opportunity to explore, and really that sense of play that is not really brought to a full lot of attention, but I do feel that is something that should be recognized every single day.
I hope to one day recreate that kind of experience, a positive one, for anybody that would end up playing one of my games.
And just like that, our first season comes to a close. From our first episode back in September to now, we cannot thank everyone enough for the support we've received.
We hope we've been able to entertain and educate throughout this busy time of year for the industry. And from the opening Telltale controversy to the closing Fallout 76 disaster, it's definitely been a stressful one.
Don't worry though, Pixel Peak will be back and better than ever next year when our associate producer here jumps into the captain seat.
And yes, I can assure you, I'm incredibly nervous. I'd like to personally thank our incredible cast for all their hard work and dedication throughout this season. To Max Stein, Tanner Mazzell, Jean-Luc Clark, Zack Clayton, Logan Berg, Walker Peters, Kristen Lawrence, Bobby Agins, Will Strickland, and Zach Beasley. Thank you for everything. Is it okay if I lead the outro this time?
Yes, but only because you brought that super cute Pikachu plush.
All right. I'm Pixel Peak producer Kyle Presley, and I hope you've enjoyed your stay here on Pixel Peak.
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 On Pixel Peak. On Pixel Peak.
On Pixel Peak.
And from me, former producer of Pixel Peak, Will Strickland, thank you so much for all the support we've had. Thank you so much to my wonderful cast. Thank you to AppTV for this opportunity. And to round out the season, I hope you've enjoyed your stay here on Pixel Peak. Good? Okay.